being in the, of course, if you want to be in the recording, let me know and I can spotlight you too. Otherwise, it'll just be me. So yes, this is a regular weekly Friday session. It also so happens, and probably a lot of people weren't even aware of this, and it doesn't quite matter. You didn't need any kind of background work to participate. But it also so happens that today is our second session in a little 4-part series that we're doing. So we started it last week, and it's exploring the mind. It's exploring the mind and different facets of our mind. And so this is often something that we come to meditation practice struggling with. We want a better handle on our mind, or we don't want to handle it all. We want it to be totally out of our experience, because our mind can cause us so much stress. And so really this is about a different way of relating to what's happening in our mind, what's happening in our experience. The first session, the first part that we did, was basically visiting all of these different minds that we have inside ourselves. And most of us will probably be familiar, just even having done a little bit of meditation practice or some kind of psychology or therapeutic work. We know there's all of these different characters going on in our heads. And so that becomes experientially very obvious if we pay close attention while we're meditating, or just pay attention throughout the day. It feels like I'm a different character when I enter different spaces. Peter and I were just on a call with somebody setting up an event, and I guarantee you my approach was very different in that call than it is right now. I was a very different character. I had different responsibilities, different inputs. So now we're here and we bring all of our characters to this moment. Today, we're going to explore something very related, but a different facet of what's going on in our mind. We're going to explore the different inputs that lead to different thoughts. And we're going to also explore the kind of result of some of our thoughts, the immediate result of some of our thoughts. So really, this is a way of looking at cause and effect. It's none other than what we're doing. We're looking at cause and effect of thoughts. So with that preface, thinking about upstream and downstream of our mind. If you're not already, you can get yourself physically situated. If you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes, or you can just soften your eyes and let them rest, even if they remain open. And as you start to pay attention to the way you're sitting, see if you can give yourself a little more to the seat below you. And perhaps as you soften and let your weight sink downwards, you might notice small little adjustments you want to make to your posture. That's great. You can do that. So in the lower half of our body, we're just settled and solid. Almost as if we're melding with whatever platform we're sitting on, seat, couch, chair, cushion. You start to imagine the boundaries between your feet or your legs or your seat start to become a little hazy and kind of mix in with the seat itself or the floor itself. It gives us a sense of solidity from our lower half of our body down, especially. And with that in place, foundation, turn to our upper body. Let your face be soft to start with. I often soften my shoulders next, belly. You can just let your head be light and buoyant, like a balloon, gently floating upwards effortlessly. So in this space between the downward pull of gravity in our lower body and the upward float of our head, in between these spaces, we notice in our belly or chest, breath is moving. Where is it moving? Notice where in your body you notice this breath. How is it moving? Just quickly, or briefly, I should say, not quickly. In fact, let's do it slowly. Count each breath to 10. And inhale. And exhale also. 1. Next inhale, 2. And next exhale, 2. Extending your mental count over the course of the whole inhale or exhale. Being as precise as you can about when that inhale changes to an exhale. When does 3 become another 3, or 3 becomes 4? Once you reach 10, you can just start from 1. And if you don't reach 10, you can also start from 1. No matter what, every time you go back to 1, you get a gold star. You can let that count soften. You don't need to focus on it so much. It can continue in the background, or it can fade away completely. Notice again the same place in the body where the breath feels very apparent. For me, it's in my belly, but for you, it could be in your chest. Anywhere in between, could even be up by the nose. try to have your mind wrap around the whole body, with just having this breath moving in the very middle. So a still body all around this moving breath in the middle. You're widening your attention to include the whole body. You don't have to feel everything at once. Just put the intention there. Feeling the whole outline of my body with my breath moving in the middle. Still keeping a sense of the entire body. Imagine now that you're breathing into your head, that you have an empty head that can be filled up with your breath. And on the inhale, your head fills up with air. And on the exhale, your head empties out. Filling and emptying your entire head, your whole skull, with breath, with air. And as thoughts come and go, you don't need to resist them, but you can just let them be mixed up in this air that you breathe in and then breathe out. And then new ones pop up and you inhale again, washing out the thoughts. We'll do the same thing, but imagining that you're breathing in and out of your heart. Imagining your whole heart and chest space can be filled up with air, perhaps more anatomically accurate. And breathe out. But now imagining that your breath moves straight out of your chest rather than back through your nose. Inhaling and exhaling as if straight from the chest. Thoughts are bound to arise. If you wish, you can just notice them before very softly returning to this chest and heart space. One breath at a time. Only this breath. And then doing the same thing, this time in the belly. Imagine that you're breathing in and out of your lower belly. You can imagine that you're breathing up from the ground, or up from your seat, right into the lower belly. Clearing it out from each breath. You can drop that focal point, that anchor, and let your attention just be diffuse all over the body. You continue to notice yourself breathing. You can open your attention up, be constrained only by the space in your body. From head to toe, from arm to arm, front to back. Deep in the core of the body, to the outside, the periphery, your skin. And just wait. Wait for a thought to arise. Perhaps you're not even needing to wait. Perhaps many are coming. As one arises, or as many arise, pick one. Notice what changes happen as a result of this thought. In your head, where we were focusing, in your heart, where we were focusing, and in your belly, where we were focusing. You notice anywhere else in the body as well, but you can use these three centers as reference points. But just running the experiment, each thought that comes up with this thought, how does it feel in my head, about my heart, my belly? You can just run this over and over, this little experiment. How about with this thought? How does this feel in my head, my heart, my belly? And allowing yourself to notice fully. That's what this feels like. Until it changes, until it feels like something else, or until it disappears. this thought comes, feels like this in my head. It's kind of stressful. When this other thought comes, it feels a different way in my heart. It's emotional in some way. Over and over. Running this experiment. And if you feel lost or mixed up, just take 10 clearing breaths in and out of your head. Clearing the 10 breaths when you need to, before returning to run the experiment. Downstream of the mind. What is the result of this thought in terms of feelings in my body? Switch to the other end of things. It's upstream of these thoughts. So you might do this by, rather than waiting for a thought, paying close attention to what you're feeling in your head, in your heart, in your belly. And again, anywhere else in your body, but these are good reference points. As you're noticing the sensations in these three places, perhaps some of them uncomfortable after 15 or so minutes of sitting. See what gives rise to a thought. You can actually wait and watch as a thought comes up. And just be curious for a moment how it might be related to what you're feeling or hearing. Some thoughts might be subtle. They might not be verbal. They could be an image. This one's a little trickier. Just being patient, feeling, waiting for a thought to bubble up out of your feelings. And anytime you're feeling mixed up, breathing in and out of the head. And it might be that the whole session goes this way. That's okay. Noticing if a sound gives rise to a thought or an image. Just dropping any effort to do any kind of practice at all. Just sitting openly for a moment. Just sitting there for a few last seconds of the practice. You might take a moment to just survey your experience over the past few minutes. What happened here? What was hard? What was interesting? As you feel prepared to come back, you can do so. Taking some deeper, larger breaths, making some small movements, perhaps cracking your neck ferociously. The cracking the neck part is optional. As you're ready, you can come back. I'll be very curious to hear any shares. What was difficult? What was interesting? How those two different sides were, upstream and downstream of our thoughts. Yeah. And if you're doing this on your own, you can also journal about these same things.